presidential campaigns end the same way, in chaos and sadness. You're seeing it in Kamala Harris's doomed campaign right now. She's firing staffers, running out of money. It's becoming clear she's not going to get the Democratic nomination. The news does not come as a big surprise. She's the junior senator from California, but she hasn't accomplished anything in Congress. She's not very likable. She's not even very popular in her home state. But rather than acknowledge any of this, she's decided to play the blame game. Bias is the real problem. Lisa Booth is a senior fellow at Independent Women's Voice. I almost downgraded you. I don't know why. Of course,
I appreciate
senior fellow. I know, and it's great to see you tonight, Lisa. So what is she saying?
Yeah, so she hasn't even lost yet, and she's already setting it. She's already doing the table setting for a loss, and it looks like she's taking a page out of the Hillary Clinton playbook where she blames everyone else for her troubles but herself. I want you to listen to something she said in an interview with Axios on HBO.
What I describe and what I believe to be the elephant in the room about my campaign.
What is that?
Electability.
What do you mean?
Electability. You know, essentially, is America ready for a woman and a woman of color to be president of the United States?
America was ready for a black man to be president of the United States.
And this conversation happened for him. There is a lack of ability or a difficulty in imagining that someone who we have never seen can do a job that has been done, 45 times by someone who is not that person.
Right, so it obviously has nothing to do with her inability to connect with voters or the fact she's flip-flopped on things like Medicare for All or criminal justice. It's because Democrat voters are sexist and racist, which is essentially...
But before we dismiss this out of hand, so she's saying that Democratic voters are racist. I mean, are they?
Well, okay, let's take a look at the most recent Quinnipiac poll.
I want to take the claim seriously.
No, but okay, so let's take it seriously. I mean, you look at among African Americans, she's polling at 2% in the latest Quinnipiac poll.
Because they're racist, obviously.
Right. If you look at women, she's at 6%, and if you look at Caucasians, she's at 4%. So no, this has nothing to do with that. It's just her failure as a candidate. And she actually sent a memo out today to staff and donors telling them that she's laying people off, that she's reshaping her campaign. She's going to be sending additional staff to Iowa and laying off those staffers at her Baltimore headquarters because she's only at about 2.7% of the Real Clear Politics average in Iowa, so she's clearly struggling there. Even in her own home state of California, she's at 8%. And I also want to get to real quick, there's this quote from David Axelrod, who's repeatedly just needled Joe Biden. If we can pull it up. He says they have him in the candidate protection program. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you can get through a whole campaign that way. Either he can hack it or he can't hack it. If you're worried the candidate can hurt himself, talking to a reporter, that's a bad sign. So clearly, we know the Obama team tried to push him out in 2016 and 2020. And David Axelrod, who knows what kind of caliber of a candidate Joe Biden is, clearly just taking shot after shot.
Well, yeah, David Axelrod is not just some pundit from Chicago.
No.
I mean, this is Barack Obama's chief political strategist. I mean, this is the head guy in the Obama operation who knows Biden as well as anybody, short of Mrs. Biden, saying the guy isn't ready to be president. I mean, that tells you a lot.
Well, and so do his numbers. I mean, he only has $8.9 million cash on hand right now, and 38% of his donors have already maxed out. And the vast majority of his money has been coming from big dollar donors. So where's that money going to come from if he wants to stay in this, what's going to be a long race with such a crowded primary field?
It's a good question, and I'm not sending him any.
I won't either, but
okay, good.
just for the record.
Lisa Booth, great to see you tonight.
Thanks, Tucker.